everybody. Welcome back to this amazing episode of the WedPro Podcast. Today, Katie is unfortunately not going to be joining me, but instead, I've got someone just as good. Today, we have a very special guest, someone whose journey and insights are truly inspiring. So please give a warm welcome to Susan McGregor. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we wanted to have a chat with you because your journey and getting into the industry and the insights that you've learned along the way. We wanted to share that with the world. So welcome. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's lovely.
So where should we begin? Let's start right back in the beginning. How was it that you came to come into the wedding industry?
Well, my son's wedding, for a start, was led by a good friend of theirs who did the celebrancy role for them. It was phenomenal, a really happy day.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kind of didn't know what to expect that day. And at the end of it, we were all completely blown away with how lovely the ceremony was, how personal it was. And we just had thoroughly enjoyed it. And then there had obviously been some funerals in the family over time, as everybody has. And I was at a kind of a crossroads with work and deciding that I maybe needed to make a change with work. My husband was in the same position. And I actually spoke to a career coach, a really phenomenal lady at the time who'd been helping my daughter to find her role. And I thought, you know what? I think I could probably ask her to give me some help. Because I think when you're at this stage in your career, my thought process was, am I done? Am I going to be finished? Is this retirement time? Or have I still got a lot of productive years ahead of me? And actually, I didn't want to stop working. But she really helped. And it made me see what my skills were and how I could develop those skills. And it was like a light bulb moment. I thought, my goodness, celebrancy just matches everything that I already have. But then the hard work starts, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
So you can have the light bulb moment, but you've then got to start putting things in place. That's the hard bit.
Yeah, so do you mind me asking kind of what age you were when you had that career change?
Yeah, 57.
Okay, so
It
a
wasn't
lot later on in life.
Yes, and it wasn't my first career change. So I kind of felt as if have I made too many career changes? I felt as if at times I was a jack of all trades and a master of none. And, when you think, oh, I'm changing again, what is this? And, I've never got to be expert at anything. And then the coach that I had at the time just kind of dismissed that idea completely and went through with me everything that actually was great in what I'd done. And even although I hadn't started with a career and kept it going for 40 years, every skill that I had built really to this point. And actually, it's been such a good fit. It's been magic.
All of everything that you've ever learned and all of those things, those job roles, what you've been through, all shapes you as a person, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I think kind of for me being I'm 35, so when I started working in the bridal shop, I was, how old was I? 21, and that wasn't on the cards for me, but I just kind of rolled with it. Now, do you think because it happened to you kind of later in life, were you a bit more cautious? Because back then I'm just going to go for it because I was younger. I'm just going to see what happens. Is that how you felt, or was there a lot of feeling and emotion behind it?
There's a bit of terror in there, actually, because
That's the word.
if you just think, I'm going to start again. And is this worth it? And it's not until you're actually in it and you're working with the people that are in it and around you that you then make the real decision about whether it's right for you. So that is a real punt. And it's why I suppose a lot of people carry on with their old job while they're testing the water and finding their feet.
Yeah. There's a lot of that in this industry, isn't there? And kind of lots of other industries as well. It's kind of like, okay, not quite ready to take that next step yet.
And it's difficult financially too, isn't it? Because when you're starting up a new business, you know that in these early days, unless you hit a niche and it just lands all at the right time, it takes a good year, doesn't it, to build up a business and start it working. So a lot of people can't afford to give up the day job. But I just found the wedding industry so far, I mean, I've been in that now for a year and a half. I've met fabulous people. They've been very friendly, very open, very helpful. And it's a real tribe, a real and it's positivity, isn't it? I think I've been in situations in the past which have not been positive, and you think, oh, this is not, maybe you just haven't found your role, maybe you haven't found the career that's right. Lots of great, but some, and you just think, oh God. So far in this one, I've had nothing but positivity, and it's been absolutely lovely.
I'm absolutely overjoyed that you've just said that, because when, for us, way back when we had the bridal shop, we found the industry not so much like that. So whether that was because we were younger girls or we weren't afraid of showing up, everyone at the wedding fairs would be like, just those girls. And they'd come and check us out. We used to call it peacocking. So we used to have all of our dresses or all the beautiful mannequins, and all the other bridal shops would just come and peacock the feathers around us. Oh, I've sold 5 dresses today. Oh. And it was I found this industry very, very cliquey. But I am overjoyed to hear that. It sounds to me like things are changing, things are moving on, things are coming as they should have a long time ago. And it's about that community, about that support, about having that amazing group of people around you. If you haven't got that, that can be difficult, can't it?
Well, that's the thing. And it's that kind of, it's human nature, isn't it? That you want to protect what you've got.
Yeah.
And we know, because this industry is kind of global and everybody's on social media and you're putting yourself out there, that you kind of have to be open. And what I took, and the previous role, that one of the previous roles that I had helped me with this as well, you have to kind of come at it with that positive mindset, that there is a celebrant for everybody, there's a dress for everybody, there's a photographer for everybody. You just have to do your research and find the right one for you. And so there's no point in being protectionist, because you can't satisfy everybody, and what works for one person doesn't work for another.
Absolutely.
Maybe maybe not everybody's got to that realization yet, but I think the training that I had and the background that I brought to it just made me think, you know what, I'm not having any of this nonsense. I'm not doing that nonsense. We're all here. We should all be helping each other out.
Yeah, so this kind of brings me on to my next question that I would like to ask you about what has helped you get to where you are now. I know we've covered it a little bit, but let's pick it apart a little bit more.
Yeah, well, it's definitely community, 100%. When I started the role, I knew I wanted to train as a wedding celebrant first, and I did. And luckily, some friends and family had celebrations that needed to be done, and they trusted me to do it, which was great. But I knew I wanted to do funerals down the line. And another good friend of mine who is a funeral celebrant already and of very long standing just said, let me help you. Now, I mean, that to me was just one of the loveliest things, because instead of saying, oh, well, do you really think so? There's plenty of us out there. There's too many of us out there. You really don't want to be doing that. He just said, let me help you. And again, that just makes you think, these are good people. And actually, so I did my first funeral, which actually was for a friend, but the first booking that I had outside of that was on a Monday. And I had an accident on the Sunday and broke my shoulder and couldn't get up out of bed to this first funeral.
Right, you think this is the booking, first one.
The nightmare. And he was the first person I phoned and said, can you help? And he stepped in and did it for me. You need community, don't you? You need community around you. And I'll always be grateful for what he's done. And I think that has been the one thing that I've really noticed in the beginning, is that community matters, having good people around you matters, and coming at it with a positive, open attitude matters.
How amazing that person believed in you. And I can relate to this. And obviously Katie's not here, but she believed in me right back when she opened her bridal shop, and I saw that post on Facebook. I was a young stay-at-home mum. I lived very far away from the bridal shop. I didn't even have all of the things figured out, but I saw somebody was looking for a Saturday girl, or I think it was a Sunday girl. I wasn't even a Saturday girl at that point. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to go for it. And she believed in me, and it just took somebody to kind of go, come on, it's fine. This is going to be great. And having somebody to have that much confidence in you goes such a long way. And outside of my home, yes, my husband believed in me, loved me, but just to have somebody else see that as well, it's like, I don't know, yeah, it's just really beautiful.
It just makes you feel calm, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, calm, yeah.
And that kind of stress disappears. And you think, yeah, I can do this. This is good.
Yeah, it is. Like community, and this is where our business started, is the foundation. If you can surround yourself with the right types of people, you will fly because you've got somebody to go to when things are going amazing, and also when they're not going so amazing, because we know running our own businesses, it's not all bells and whistles and fantasticness that everybody puts out there on socials. Like, the struggle is real, right?
It's hard work. You've got to put the work in, haven't you? That's the thing.
Got to wear all those hats. So community, like, yes, I love that. So has anything stood out in your business or even in your life as a defining moment? Have you got anything that's like, yes?
I think when you get your first good review, when you stand up, so me as a celebrant, you put all this stuff out there. You say, I'm going to do these really fantastic ceremonies. You really want something bespoke and fabulous, and I can do that for you, and trust in me. And you're just beginning, but you can do it. And then you get the booking and you have to do it. And there's that moment where you just think,
I do it.
the proof is in the pudding here. And you do it and it goes well, and you just have loved every minute of it. And I think that defining moment when you think, I've just found what I want to do, and it's a real happy place. And that to me has been a defining moment. And because I've done some good jobs in the past, I've really enjoyed some of the things that I've done in the past. They've been quite life defining at times. But this was amazing, and I loved it. And I think you couldn't wipe the grin off my face that day. So that was when I thought, yeah, I've landed in the right.
So it is a big moment, isn't it? And it is important that those moments do get celebrated. Did you celebrate? Did you do anything like to have a little? We're all about a celebration. We are.
There's always a bottle of wine in the fridge. That
Hey.
does nicely. Thank you very much. And a nice meal out somewhere. Yeah, there's you have to put the work in. You have to show up, and it's making sure you show up in the right way at the right time for the right reasons. There's that old adage, isn't there, that when you find the right career, you never work a day in your life. I mean, it got me to be 57, 58 before I thought, yeah, found it.
I love that. Because, like, when you said, oh, is this it for me? Like, what do I do next? To have that security now of going, yeah, this is me, and I'm going to be
It's a
doing this
sandboy.
as long as I
Loving
can.
it.
Loving it, loving it. So we have worked together for quite some time now, and you have been inside our coaching program and are still in our coaching program. So I would like to ask you about that. How's that been for you? Was when you joined, was you nervous? Was you excited? Tell me all about it.
Well, I think very nervous actually. I'd already had that kind of career coach, the lovely lady that did that for me. And so I knew the value of coaching. I'd
Mhm.
enjoyed the training. I did my training with the Academy of Modern Celebrancy. I thought that training was great. And then at the time I needed that little bit of coaching, that realization, I'm trying my best here, but I don't know if I'm doing it in the right way.
Yeah.
And I don't want to waste time. I haven't got time to waste making big mistakes and doing this the wrong way. And I want this to be right. And I saw you online, and that can be tricky, can't it? Because there's that whole trust
Oh,
thing
yeah.
with putting your trust in people that you find online. But I thought your online presence was fabulous, and listened to your podcasts, and I thought they were great. And I thought, right, these are the ladies that I think will be able to help, because you're so proactive and so personable. And so I just took the punt and signed up for it. Now, again, the program that you have laid out for us to follow step by step just made everything concrete. So instead of it being what should I be doing? How should I be doing it? I'm not sure how to do this. It's that person there looks as if they're doing that right, but I don't know how to manage that. It can become quite scattergun.
Yeah, there is a lot of information out there in the
Yeah.
world, and you can get information overload. Well, that person's saying, should I be doing that? No, but I've seen this person over here doing this. So it's too much information, actually, I find.
Yeah. And so what I've found with the coaching is actually I need to, and what has worked well is when I've said, I absolutely need to focus on this today or this week, and let all of the other distractions go, because there is time. And if I'm not doing everything all at once, it's not going to all fall by the wayside. but I have to get this right and I have to do this right. Like a website. Oh my God, the website. You know, I got a professional website done, but then it gets handed over to you, doesn't it? And you think, what on earth? I had to put a blog up. It took me 2 days. I had no idea what I was doing. I wept. I thought, what my God, I don't know what to do. And
It's literally like having a baby.
it's horrible.
You're handed this thing and you're like, okay.
What's next? Please don't leave me. But you know, I just sat for I think a day, maybe 2 days, when I thought I'm doing nothing else but this, because this has to be right and I'm not an idiot and I can do this. I know I can do this. And it worked. And you know, you just have to take your time. But if I had too many other distractions and thought, well, I can give it half an hour and then I've got to do this and then I've got to do that and then social media needs done, I made the point of saying, no, I'm going to do this until it's fixed and then I can move on. And it happened like that. So I think the coaching has made me appreciate that you have to have a plan. You stick to that plan as much as you can, and things will start to fall into place more easily than they would have done if you were trying to fight fires everywhere.
Yeah. And that's it. It's knowing and coming to that realization that, okay, yes, coaching and, you know, having a mentor or sign up for a program, and not just ours, any program, yes, it's an investment and yes, you have to put time in, but if you work at it, and yes, I know you said there, Susan, that our program is great, which thank you very much, but this has come from you. You have shown up, you have put the work in, you have done incredible things in such a short space of time. Like, you absolutely have. So don't be singing our praises, sing your own praises. We've put this program together because we don't want it to be difficult. We know it's already difficult wearing all of the hats. So anything that we can do to create a space where you can learn, you can have that community, you know, we are here to provide that platform. But you guys out there, you're doing the work. We're just kind of guiding you along the way, being your mentors, being there when you need us the most. You've done this. I would never have said that your business is, you know, still in its infancy for as far as you've got already. Honestly, you've done so incredible.
Oh, that's kind. That's kind. But I think that word that you used there, mentoring, I think when you find people that are mentoring you who are good at what they do and have your back, it's worth a fortune, an absolute fortune. And in this industry, with the academy I trained with the mentors they've had and worked with me, and then you to build on that mentoring has been phenomenal. Absolutely. And I think it gives you confidence, doesn't it? That's what it does. It gives you confidence.
It's been able to have that access to, you know, people and information when you need it, and not being alone. So when you decided, you know, I want to be a celebrant, and then you came to this industry, was it what you thought it was going to be?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, actually. I knew that starting a business wouldn't be easy. I knew that retraining would take effort and focus and commitment. But I think I was ready for it. I think I really wanted to do it and I really wanted to do it well. And so being able to kind of do that research and find the right people and connect with the right people. And some people reached out and connected with me. It wasn't just me finding people.
Mm-hmm.
There's some lovely people out there who are really willing to open themselves to helping others as well. Excuse me. And that openness, positive attitude was a match for what I needed at the time. So I think I've been actually quite fortunate there. But a lot of it, I think, is you come at it with a positive attitude, you'll get positive back. If you come at it with a negative, that's what you're going to find. You learn that over time as well. And maybe that's another thing that age helps with. You realise
what you put out there in the world, you receive back. I actually really do believe in that. You know, we are quite big on manifestation. We call it woo and do. You have to do a little bit of the woo and then a little bit of the do as well. You can't just have all the woo and then go, okay, I'm putting that out into the world, so it's going to happen. You still got to put a little bit of the work in.
Well, you work hard to get the luck you get, don't you? You work hard to get lucky. That's what I've always believed. But yes, it's worked well. I feel as if it's been what I hoped it would be. And it would be lovely to be, it's always lovely to be busier, isn't it? To be the go-to person. But again, you take a step back and you say, I'm new, I'm building, this will come. And I think we all just hope that as soon as we put ourselves out there, it's going to be great. But actually, you do have to put that effort in and keep that going, which is, again, part of the coaching. You know, what are you doing this week? What are you showing up for this week to put yourself in the right position? So it's always in the back of your mind.
So do you feel like in the industry with couples and venues and other suppliers, do they understand the value of a celebrant? Like, what's your experience with that?
Oh, well, I would love to say yes. I think from the venues that I've visited and the wedding planners that I've spoken to, they kind of secretly love celebrant-led ceremonies
Mhm.
because they know that their couples are really happy and they have a phenomenal day. And it's the start of their phenomenal day. But I think because so many couples will go to a beautiful venue and it's a licensed venue, and the venue generally just says to the couple, have you booked your registrar? Make sure you've got your registrar booked so that there's that kind of still knowledge gap with couples that actually they don't have to have the registrar at their venue. They don't have to go to a licensed venue. Actually, all of those weddings that they see on Instagram of people out in the open having great fun or in really lovely settings that they've chosen themselves, which they really love. And actually, for not that much difference in price, they can have what they want, really, with somebody who's going to work with them. And that's the thing, you spend a lot of time with them and you work with them. So they know who's going to turn up on the day. They trust you to provide that service for them. You've spent time and effort with them. But I think a lot of people still don't really get, and I think it might be my generation too. I was at a wedding fair and there was a lovely young couple that I was talking to, and they were really quite interested in finding out everything about it. And they went off, and then the dad who was with them came back, and he was kind of all over the table having a look at everything and seeing what was,
Here then. What's
what is
going
that?
on?
And then he said, yeah, you do the pretend ceremony, don't you?
Oh,
And I thought, do you know what? I absolutely understand 100% where he's coming from, because that's what he thinks, that we do the pretend ceremony. But I know from my own son's wedding and the weddings that I've done that when it's personal, when the couple have time to put a beautiful ceremony together with you, it's it's
there's
so
nothing pretend about that.
it's emotional, magical, wonderful, and meaningful. And to me, that's what we're trying to get across. It's not the building that matters, it's the person who's doing the ceremony for you that matters. And I think there's still a lot of education to be done there as far as helping couples understand the choices they have available.
So what do you think kind of moving forward venues could do differently or suppliers could do differently to help this effort? Because it's not going to change overnight. We were all about building community, growing support, and changing the times of that clickiness in the industry. And finally, I feel like it's happening. Like exactly what you said. You've come into the industry, and everybody has been so lovely. Honestly, that has absolutely made my day. So, and we have banged on about this for years and years and years. And so I want this to happen quicker for all the celebrants out there. So what can we all be doing?
Well, there's space for everyone, and I don't want to be the person who says that a registry office wedding is not good enough. That's absolutely not what I'm saying, because there's a fit for everyone, and registrars provide that service, and a lot of them do it very, very well. But it's about choice, isn't it? It's about saying to couples that come to your venue, have you thought about your ceremony? Have you booked your celebrant and your registrar?
Yeah.
Have you thought about a celebrant-led wedding? Because you can guarantee these venues have had lots of celebrants come through and say, I'm available, I'm in the area, think about me when your couples come in. And we can talk to couples about how to legalise their ceremony. We know how that works. So they've got the choice. They can either have the registrar come to the venue or they can have the celebrant come to the venue. So if you have a venue, just ask them, what kind of ceremony are you thinking of? Have you thought about a celebrant? We can organise that for you, or you can find your celebrant yourself. It's allowing them to start the conversation, because there was one venue I visited last year, had a lovely chat with the wedding planner there, and they had just had a couple in who looked at the venue, which was beautiful, like Cambridgeshire way, and their wedding, because the registrars were fairly booked for that day, they could have a 4 o'clock wedding. That was when the registrar could fit them in.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear this often actually. Yeah.
Yeah, so they had to have their wedding at 4 o'clock. They didn't want that. And then they talked through what the ceremony would be, and the bride said to the planner, "Is this all we can have?" Because she actually was in this phenomenal venue with all of that beauty around her, and it was going to be a 10-minute,
Yeah, and it wasn't going to be doing it justice. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah.
and 4 o'clock or nothing. Whereas that, that couple had choices. They could have had
And
one,
yeah, when I think back to when I got married nearly 7 years ago, I absolutely would have loved a celebrant, and I know my husband would have as well. But it wasn't even, not that, well, nobody even suggested it to me. So
Yeah,
exactly like well, what you've just said there, you book your venue and then it's sort out the registrar and it's, oh, when it got this time available or that time available, and you go with one or the other, and then you just kind of, I was like a bit of a rabbit in a headlights. I've never been married before. I don't know what I'm doing. These are the professionals. But if someone would have said to me, "Oh, Roxy, there's another option," I would have been all ears. So
you
if
might
I
have
was
grabbed
like
it.
that, there's so many other couples out there that are potentially missing out on something amazing.
Yeah, and
And my registrar was, I think, an hour late. Just saying. Just saying.
well, if you'd have been an hour late, it might have been a different proposition.
Exactly what I said on the day. Yes. I mean, they were great, but to have that extra personalization and that, yeah, I'm all in. I want to
Love
do it
it.
again.
Absolutely. And the personalization, the fact that you know who's at the end of the aisle waiting for you, you've met them, you've worked with them, you trust them, you know what you're getting, you're getting what you want,
Yeah.
and you're making the most of the venue you're in. You're making the most of everybody there. The other thing is, somebody else said at the start of my journey, you don't want to be getting married and having half your congregation clock watching, waiting for the bar to open. And you think, gosh, absolutely. You want them involved. You want them having fun. You want them to just really be loving what they're seeing.
Yeah.
Bit of a tear, bit of a laugh, great fun. And then out they go, ready to start the day on a high. That's what you do.
Yeah, you say, yeah. I'm really sad that I didn't get the chance. I'm going
But
to renew my vows. I'm going to be like, husband,
we do
well,
this again.
I did say when we get to 10 years, and at the time it was like, gosh, that's a long time away. But actually, it's only a couple of years away now. So, yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, I am absolutely going to do it. So, what advice would you give to other wedding business owners out there?
Embrace it, put the effort in, put the work in. If you can't afford to start right away by giving it your 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, then carry on with the day job to keep the finances coming in until you find your feet and run with it. There has to be that punt, doesn't there? And again, I have to say that starting this later in life has meant that I don't have the same worries in that regard as a lot of younger people might have. So that is a thing, isn't it? So I did work for 6 months while I was doing all my training before I then said, this is now what I'm going to do full time, and it's working. But I don't have time. I just want to get it. I just want to get out there and make it work. So I would say put the hours in, put the effort in, and stay positive, because negativity seeps out, doesn't it?
Doesn't it? Yeah.
And on social media, you don't want to see the negative. You really don't. You know it's there. You know that it's difficult. You know that you need to work through things sometimes. But actually, there are ways of writing it, ways of asking for help, and ways of putting things in place to get the right answers without it being whingy. I don't want to do whingy anymore. I don't want to be miserable. I want to love it. And I think everybody in the industry feels the same, but sometimes are more difficult than others. And it's been able to ride out those difficulties, isn't it? But a couple don't want you if you're miserable.
Oh, of course not. No.
If you're going to complain, if you're
No,
going to say,
no, no,
oh,
no.
yeah, I know exactly what you mean. That's just the worst thing ever. It's like, okay, let's see how we can work this out. That's not going to happen. We're not going to do that. So people want happy, positive ceremonies. If it's a wedding, they want it to be phenomenal. They want to just really enjoy the day. They want to have that ceremony that they love. I do funerals too, and that's a completely different situation, but families want that ceremony to go very well. You only do it once. So that's it. You just have to keep the positivity going and realize that you can do it. You're going to give a good service.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think my advice to all of you lovely listeners out there in your businesses, connect with other suppliers, go and introduce yourself, drop that person a DM that you've been following, that you like their work. Like, just put yourself out there. When you do that, when you put goodness out there, you will receive goodness too. So connect with suppliers and everybody, just show up in all the places. Like you said, Susan, you came to find us on the internet, also you listen to our podcast. We are out there everywhere, and it pays us good in the respect that we have lots of clients that, in fact, most clients say, oh, I've read your blog, or I listened to your podcast, or so and so's referred me to you. It's because we talk to everybody. We are everywhere. We're like a bad but a good smell. There's no getting away from us, but this is when it comes down to
But it's relentless positivity, isn't it? It's relentless.
show
You
up,
have to.
show up everywhere, and also believe in yourself and invest in your business for the future. That's something that's so underutilized, and I think especially within this industry, yes, okay, money has to part hands to invest in your business, but it will come back to you tenfold, and you are proof of this, Susan.
There you go.
Thank you so much for sharing your insights and your experiences with us today. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Oh, brilliant. And to all our listeners, thank you for tuning in, and be sure to check out Susan's work as a celebrant, and consider that impact of coaching on your own career journey. You can check out Susan's work. I'll pop a link to her website in the show notes and her Instagram as well. And if anything that I spoke about today resonates with you guys, get in touch with us. Like I've just said, reach out, drop us an email. I'll pop our email address in the show notes so you can have a chat with us. Have a fantastic rest of your day or your evening, whatever you're doing. And we'll see you on the next episode. Take care, everyone. Bye.